What's up, everybody? Some of you guys might have noticed that the last couple months I've been making a lot more videos than I used to. If you didn't notice, then you should probably just go ahead and skip forward to the video. But yeah, I've been working on my house and working on videos for the last 2 months. I stopped taking construction jobs. But here's the reality is it's not enough for me to get by on. So it's just facts. So it's real simple. I'm either going to auction my time off to you guys or I'm going to auction it off to work on somebody else's house to make a living. I have to make a living one way or another. So if you guys want to keep me on for another month full time here, we'll just do this on a month to month basis. Right now, we'll just do a little fundraiser that buys you guys me full time up till April 15th. And if not, then that's fine too. I actually enjoy construction. So really doesn't matter which way this goes. But the reality is what I'm getting off YouTube just isn't enough to survive on. So if you guys would like to keep me around, then a little donation would help a lot. Honestly, if 1 out of 10 of you guys, just 10%, donated $5 at some point in the next 3 months, that would be fine. I'd be able to make ends meet. So it's been a couple years since I even bothered putting my PayPal and my Patreon down in the links. So I'll put that in here. Might start a couple videos like this because different people watch different things. But yeah, if you'd like to become a Patreon, that'd be great. I think a one-time donation through PayPal is probably better. I get like 99.9% of that money for one. And also, like I said, just do this as a month-to-month basis. So if you guys would like to keep me around for another month, I'll keep doing as many videos as I can and keep myself sane. If not, that's fine too. It'll just go back to the way it used to be. I'll make videos when I have the time and energy, but not near as often as I have been. So it's up to you guys. If you do, then thank you very much. If not, no hard feelings. I don't mind doing construction at all. Thanks. Also, down in the pinned comment, tell me which type of video you like better, the history or the current affairs, gossip, what's going on in the world. I really started doing current affairs again because I can put out more videos, but they really don't like me talking about that stuff and punish me in every way they can. I've been able to do 4 or 5 videos a week by throwing in some current affairs, as to where if I just do history videos, it'll probably only be 2 or 3. It's a full-time job just trying to come up with that many topics. Where it's pretty easy to talk about what's going on in clown world. Anyway, let me know which one you guys prefer, or if both, say both. So this is the Cockno Stone up near Felfleet. Been a lot of stuff from the British Isles lately. This was first discovered in 1887, but they reburied it in 1965. And this is one of the few sites that actually makes sense. It was turning into a huge tourist attraction, and everybody was walking all over it. Monkey see, monkey do, carving their names in it. So this one actually made a little bit of sense to rebury it for conservation reasons. They do this all the time with archaeological sites, but when it's in the middle of the desert where nobody knows where it is, then that doesn't make much sense. This was also a time when you had a bunch of amateur archaeologists, which were a little more than modern day YouTubers, and they went out and painted the whole thing. I thought these were just chalk lines at first, but no, they actually painted it. The parallel lines are just for grid layout. Then they call the original carving cup and ring markings. But multiple researchers have determined that this was part of one of the major plasma events in our past. I know this symbol right here has been used to signify the sun basically around the world. And some have tied this with ancient mythology, even going so far as to say that the planets were in a different order at that time. I haven't been able to make much sense of what they're getting at here, but maybe you guys can. Here it says, Guard of Mars, 1/12th sun year. Then here, again, you've got 1/12th sun year kind of snaking around, and then the same thing in the center. And then the planets in a completely different order, working out from the center. 1 year Jupiter, 2 years Mercury, 1/2 year Venus, 1 year Saturn, and 1/2 year Mars. How they came up with that, I have no idea. But they have a directional indicator here saying ancient East, implying that it's not the same as modern East. And this reminds me of this old documentary I watched from like the 70s where they were on the shores of Great Britain and said the exact same thing. And the way they determined that was tiny magnetic particles in a lava flow would all face one direction and it wasn't towards modern day north. Though I'm not sure how they determined that in this case. Picture of the sun god, once again referring to the lights in the heavens as gods. The central cup eclipsed and swallowed by the evil serpent which envelops the cup, but is contorted and about to be defeated. The sun called to his rescue the 5 planets in the order shown. So, just like the Saturn as our first sun theory, they're suggesting that the planets were in a different order within the Holocene period, the age of man. The eclipse passes, a new era begins. The Venus egg symbol shelters the newborn sun. The moon enters as a resurrection god. Mercury, as sprouting branch, links the two eras. How they got all of that out of some markings like this, I don't have a clue. But it does seem like they might be portraying the heavens in disarray and possibly even galaxies colliding. I don't know. So let's get into the electric universe and plasma. And I should probably explain the basics here for people that are brand new to this. And then we'll get into the grad level stuff. So everybody's familiar with the cataclysmic cycle, right? Well, some of those come with fireworks. This formation is known as Squatter Man, and up on the top right, you're looking at lab-made plasma, and it forms this chalice-looking thing, possibly the Holy Grail. But a 2D representation of it down at the bottom right is what everybody calls the Squatter Man symbol, and it's usually got the 2 dots on each side as well. People all around the world found this symbol to be significant enough to carve and paint on rocks everywhere, petroglyphs. And it seems reasonable that this was something everybody was seeing up in the sky. Here we've got a stack of multi-mega amp current conducting plasma toroids, which one interpretation of this could be the ladder to heaven. But we've got all of these different symbols that match others that are halfway around the world, drawn by people that presumably didn't know each other. Actually, back at that time, they probably did. This was one I hadn't seen before, but this reminds me of like tiki masks. So there is all kinds of symbolism and artwork passed down generation after generation in cultures all around the world, and they have no idea where it came from. Well, maybe some of them actually do, but we don't. Like right here is a modern mask with these lizards all over it, or the Squatter Man all over it, and the artist here probably has no idea where that came from. It's just traditional art. And we do the same thing here in Western culture. The whole idea of a king's crown is symbolizing sun rays. And I can't believe I actually found this again, but there's this documentary about Kathmandu. When they showed the king and queen come into town, I tripped out. So check out his headdress. Tell me that isn't symbolizing a comet with a long tail. I mean, the word comet itself just means long hair. Then the queen's crown and necklace, radiant as the sun. Then his whole throne is a giant serpent with multiple heads. Once again, this is something that people all around the world came up with. So it seems like everything about this scene was cosmically inspired. The comet tail crown that he's wearing actually makes a lot of sense because kings and kingdoms fall during these events. So I'm sure one of his ancestors was the savior of Kathmandu that defeated the dragon and brought peace and stability back to the land. A lot of cultures have a story similar to that, like the Yellow Emperor in China. Yep, I didn't even know this statue existed, but it's spot on with what I was saying. Here he's fighting a water dragon and overcoming challenges, including those involving water and weather. So these events destroy the old kingdom and usher in a new one most of the time. This popped up in my feed earlier today. If you've never seen Monty Python's Holy Grail, you should check it out. That's the one thing I'll give YouTube a little credit on is they've got better movies on here than on any of the streaming platforms. I can't stand television, but I still like a good movie. But they won't let you screenshot it. It blacks it out like this. So I had to find this somewhere else. The opening scene of the movie is this. I saw this and just went, wow, there's some hardcore symbolism going on here. There's the Pillar of Heaven, and then the Wheel of Heaven, and then King Arthur is even wearing a sun on his chest. And, you know, the Monty Python crew was English superstar back in the day. And I'm sure these guys were into some occult stuff. There's no way this is an accident. So let me explain the whole thing here. Saturn myth, David Talbot writes, Buddhist myth says that a plot of land congealed out of the cosmic waters to form a band around the Great Father, becoming the Golden Wheel. The surface of these waters is stirred by the dawn wind of creation. The foam of the water solidifies to form the Golden Circle, or Land of Gold, the same as Zhang's Golden Wheel, and representing the foundations of the earth. That the world wheel stood at the stationary pole is confirmed by the Buddhist account of the primeval wheel king, owner of a wheel whose steadfastness was the measure of his fitness to rule. He was a universal king, lord of the four quarters of the earth. The four quarters were the four divisions of the wheel. The myth states not only that the revolving wheel remained in a stationary position, but that a fall from its fixed place would mean the death of the ruler. If the celestial wheel of a wheel-turning king shall sink down, shall slip down from its place, that king has not much time to live. That is, of course, exactly what happened. The wheel fell, the universal monarch died, and the world was thrown into confusion. So you guys see that symbol, the circle with crosshairs. Here it is at the Cockno Stone. Triptolemus riding a single wheel, and even the oldest depictions of Yahweh shows him in a single-wheeled flying chariot, while others depict it as a man on a wheel, or a god on a wheel. I'm not sure who Ixion is. So there's your guy on a wheel, and it's being held up by the cosmic pillar, or sometimes the cosmic mountain or tree, like Yggdrasil in Norse, the world tree. Or in modern terms, this is a multipolar aurora, including that of the remaining dipole field, that also takes the form of stable, narrow columns thousands of miles high. That is, according to this paper. Peratt believed that these images were a snapshot of a single intense auroral column fixed over the Earth's geographical south pole. Renz argues that the unique conditions of a geomagnetic excursion gave rise to several such columns scattered around the world, some of which changed their locations. Traditions from virtually every society were called an age of myth, era of creation, golden age, or time when the gods lived on Earth. This was believed to be an exemplary epoch at the dawn of remembered human history, characterized by the remarkable activities of supernatural beings and a series of events transforming former worlds into the sky and the earth as they appear today. Anomalous suns and moons make a frequent appearance in mythical reports about this time. They were anomalous by the standard of the sun and moon as we know them, being stationary, too low, too hot or dim, too fast or slow, appearing in multiples, and so on. The traditions also allocate a central place to one or more stupendous columns, often luminous, which join the respective regions of the cosmos on the vertical and horizontal planes at a time when the sun, moon, and stars were not yet seen in the sky. Anthropologists habitually refer to such a column as an axis mundi, meaning the world axis or cosmic axis. This term presupposes an association with the pole, which, as I have argued before, is not justified for the original sky pillars. I suggest mechanisms that could account for the worldwide memories of a primordial period of near total darkness, flood and fire, of luminous objects retrospectively suggestive of failed suns or moons, and of stupendous pillars of light reaching from the horizon or directly overhead. In David Talbert's version of this, Saturn is the central sun over the North Pole, and then when things start getting all out of whack, then there's a cosmic plasma pillar. This other guy, Vandersloot, I want to get one of his books, but it's an interesting idea that these dipoles in different areas of the Earth are discharging all at the same time. But I don't know. A lot of times they'll describe it as the axis mundi, so the axis of the world or universe would put it at the North Pole. And this makes me think of As Above, So Below. This is an old map basically showing Garden of Eden right at the center of the world axis mundi, North Pole. And there's the 4 rivers of Eden that flow out, which again is the circle and cross symbolism. Then other people put the Axis Mundi at Jerusalem. But when they put it like this, it looks like the center of the trade universe. And it's still the same way. You got the Suez Canal right there connecting the east to the Mediterranean. So, yeah, I seriously doubt that that's just a coincidence that they had this right here in the opening scene. Still hadn't quite figured out the sun symbol on Arthur, other than the fact that everything is just portraying cosmic symbolism. And I'm still learning about this King Arthur stuff. A couple of you guys turned me on to Wilson and Blackett. Their book is like $800, so I can't go that route, but I have been learning quite a bit off of YouTube lectures. And I guess what I refer to as the 536 AD event was a comet impact up around Great Britain, which also happens to tie in with Common's Beaumont. And then the British Isles were so devastated that King Arthur and his whole fleet decided to go to America, I believe is what's going on here. It's like 700 ship fleet. So I'm still trying to piece all that together, but the Monty Python crew was kind of the Holly Weird of their day. I don't think they're quite as bad freaks as today, but they very well could be tied in with some top occultists out there, And kind of the whole theme of the movie is everybody's dirt poor mud farmers, King Arthur can't even afford a horse. He's clacking together coconuts, making it sound like a horse. And this is all slowly clicking in my brain here. Once again, you got dragons. So just like the Emperor of China, he was a slayer of dragons. And then they have legends of a wasteland. Late in Arthur's reign, the land turns to waste, famine and pestilence plague the people, and open warfare looms at the twilight of Pax Arthurina. This is usually associated with the Fisher King, wounded land. So yeah, there's no way that this was an accident that they were this spot on about things with everybody being dirt poor. One line is, he must be a king. Why do you say that? Because he's not covered in shat. But also they're sitting here arguing about the different types of government. Yeah, and then there's the Holy Grail up in the sky. Yeah, this is kind of all clicking together here, huh? If I'd known that when I started, I'd just do a video on this. May have to watch the whole movie and then get back to you guys. Most people probably didn't even get this far into the video, so I just started figuring out all the interesting stuff towards the end. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one. Static out.